they're not going to do 1 year $90 million. It's going to be 2 years $100. The question is, in year 3, do they pay the other $35 million he's due to make? That'd make it 3 years, $135. So either way, it's a damn good deal for Kirk Cousins at age 35, coming off of that torn Achilles tendon. He was also asked about the status of the injury that required surgery from which he's recovering. Here he is addressing that yesterday without his upside-down Atlanta hat on.
Optimistic that I can be full speed at practice before we break for the summer, and that's kind of the goal I've set for myself. But we do have a long runway, and what I've been told going back to when I first injured it was that you don't rush it. You let time, do its thing, and it's going to take time to fully heal that tissue. I do think that, I can take drops. I can play the quarterback position, if you will, throwing the football. I think the minute I would have to leave the pocket is where you would say, yeah, he's still recovering from an Achilles. But taking drops, making throws, that's really no problem at this point.
Not that this is a guy who breaks the pocket and runs for 30 yards on a regular basis anyway. So it sounds like he's close to 100% as it relates to his typical skill set. Because already, that's been one of the criticisms over the years. When the walls start to cave in, he can't improvise. He can't extend the play. He can't make the off-schedule throw. That's what separates great from good. And he's good. There's no doubting that he's good. And he's on his road to being healthy. He said he passed his physical on everything but the Achilles tendon. That was one of the questions we raised. They're making this huge commitment, and you're taking this leap of faith. How are you protected in the event that there's a setback? Is the injury guarantee, and this will be interesting, and one of my goals now is to get the language of the contract. Is there an exception for the injury guarantee as it relates to the Achilles?
Right.
Sometimes that's in there. Now, it might only apply to that final $10 million, but still, if this Achilles is an issue, maybe they are protected to some extent from owing him as much as we think they owe him. But there he is doing his thing. And look, that's a hard court tennis court. That's not a forgiving surface. That's a lot like the stuff
but
your
that's
dad
not
played
full
on.
speed drop, like, let me pop up in the pocket, right? He's like, he could say, I could stand there and make throws and do all that. He's not 100% there either. He drops more aggressively when you watch a real game. When he hits the back of his drop, he's way more aggressive with pushing up and doing that. So you can see that's just, 2-3 weeks ago? He's still being a little ginger on that, right? So there's time there. There is. But this was part of the risk we talked about a little bit with Atlanta. Like, hey, you're going to pay this guy all this money. He's going to be your leader. And, hey, he's not going to do anything in OTAs. So you're not like Drake London and Pitts aren't going to get any timing or rhythm with Kirk Cousins. And then we're going to go into training camp. And, listen, I don't know, but the way this goes, guys his age, I feel like it's going to be, hey, let's manage him. He does this many reps this day, this many. So you're paying a lot of money a guy here that we're going to, slowly bring along. That, to me, was the risk of this, as far as for Atlanta. For Kirk Cousins, you kind of alluded to it a second ago. Hey, the one good thing is him not being able to move the pocket, run, and all that. This is definitely one of the best offensive lines in football. You heard me say that last year, right? I think this is where Kirk Cousins is going to be beautiful for them because he can open up the field and the passing game a little bit. And now, teams will back off a little bit, worry about the passing game, and Bijan Robinson and that damn good offensive line will start to, kick some butt, right? The Falcons are good. They're close. They were 7-10 last year. If they didn't have the quarterback they had there was 4 or 5 games that you just slip around and go, oh my gosh, that was close, and the quarterback really screwed it up at the end, and they should have won the game. You go, they should have been 10-7, maybe 11-6, one of those in a lot of ways if they have a good quarterback. And that's where they're hoping Kirk Cousins can flip that around with the rest of this new regime there.
There was also a lot of talk from Kirk Cousins on the urgency of getting ready for the season, working with his teammates beyond the boundaries of what the offseason program allows. Now, he did say he won't be fully up to speed until the end of the offseason program, but you think about that 6-week window in between, a lot of get-togethers in Atlanta or wherever with him and the receivers to get everyone on the same page. And maybe he's now motivated to go above and beyond what is required. Maybe he'll work on Tuesdays. And I'm not saying that to be...
Yeah, I know.
even more of a prick than Baker Mayfield. When you go on record as part of this quarterback series and say you never do any football work at all on Tuesdays when you're on a Sunday to Sunday schedule, and I'm sorry, folks, you can give me a hard time about it if you want. You'll find something else if you don't do it on this. I really don't care. If you're all in with being the best quarterback you can be in the National Football League, and during football season, you work every single day. You set the tone for your teammates. It's part of being that natural leader and holding people accountable. We don't shut it down for
and
a
you're
full
the
day.
highest paid person in the organization, so it's your duty to be that guy. Right, go ahead, sorry.
And so I wonder whether that will happen now. Will we hear at some point, I'm now working on Tuesdays. I've got a lot of catching up to do. I've got a lot to get myself ready to be as effective as I can be. Will there be an acknowledgement by Kirk Cousins that at this point in his career, at this point in his life, now that his family is living within an hour of his wife's parents, maybe a greater sense of overall harmony and happiness because of this? And when you listen to some of the things he said yesterday about his father-in-law and what a great Atlanta Falcons fan he is and a fan of all Atlanta sports, and it almost feels like this was destined to be. Like this gives him a balance that maybe allows him to go all in on Tuesdays and frees him from whatever in the past might have been keeping him from being all in with football 7 days a week, which I think you have to be. There has to be a certain element of unhealthy approach to this if you want to be great, because the other guys are doing it. That's my whole point. It's a competitive sport, inherently competitive, fiercely competitive, unhealthily competitive. And if you don't sign that same check that Patrick Mahomes is signing, that Tom Brady signed for all those years, and yes, there was a price to be paid at the end of the day, but you're never going to have your hand on a Lombardi trophy if you don't do that. Maybe now he will. Maybe this is the moment. With $45 million a year, with his family in a place where there may be a greater sense that he can go all in for a couple of years before he calls it quits to his career. If you're a Falcons fan, you can only hope that happens.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, listen, that's the way I see it. And again, hey, he's had a lot of success, certainly, doing it his way. He certainly has a better career than me. But yeah, I mean, when I was a
success. Define success.
Well, you're right. I mean,
playoffs?
Yeah, not a ton, but yeah, he's played really good football, right? He's made a lot of money.
This could be the difference.
Yeah, this could be the difference. There's no doubt about it. To me, that's where I'm going with you, Mike. I mean, to me, that's the only way when you want to be the man. Like, if you want to be the guy and it's the only way, right? That's part of it. Players' day off, so freaking what? Not quarterback day off, right? I mean, that's just not the way it is. I don't care what it is. I mean, when I was a starting quarterback of the Bucs, it might have been, late June, nobody's in the facility, whatever. But I was going to stop by for a little while and do something and be there and work and do whatever, right? I mean, that's what your duty is. I go to Kansas City before the season, right? They're going to open the year against the Detroit Lions. It's like 9 or 10 days before the game. It's a player's day off in Kansas City. Guess what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for Mahomes. He's in the meeting room. He's watching film. He's doing stuff. Nobody else is there, right? But Mahomes is there with the coaches. And he's already getting things in order and getting a feel for Detroit. Why the rest of the team is doing whatever at home, having a poolside barbecue. But that's what the quarterback has to do. It has to be that guy. And not only for his own success, but for success of the team and to lead the way and all of that. And, you're right. Maybe it's not a hot iron poker on Kirk Cousins, but maybe this is great to be here. I'm so lucky. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I got family here. I want to just be as good as I can be for all those people. Maybe that'll get him to work on Tuesday. I mean, maybe you're right, Mike.
And, as I mentioned, there is something about this when you hear him talk about playing in Atlanta that feels, in hindsight, like it was inevitable. I'm reminded, since we're still in the afterglow of the Oscars, of Slumdog Millionaire, which won the Best Picture award in 2008. The question posed at the beginning and answered at the end as to how this kid, who supposedly doesn't know anything, ends up winning the prize on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. A, he is cheating. B, he is brilliant. C, he is lucky. Or D, it is written. It feels like it's been written. it feels like it's a perfect match for Cousins to be in Atlanta. And he was asked, why didn't you do this sooner in your career? Well, the opportunity never presented itself. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.